When I was young, I used to sleep in my mother's bed a lot due to the nightmares I frequently had as a kid. I could always find peace under the covers of my mum's bed, but I now realise the actual comfort had come from the lights. Though still foggy in my memory, there had been a pair of 2 lights somewhere near the ceiling of my mum's room. I never thought much of them, at least not bad of course. They were comforting, soothing, and warm. I began depending on these lights so much that when they didn't show up, only on rare occasions, I couldn't help feeling distraught and never got a good sleep. I never investigated the lights. Perhaps if I had, I wouldn't be in the situation I am now. Eventually, I got older and gradually stopped sleeping in my mum's room. The nightmares stopped and I had relatively forgotten about the lights. Until last night. Stumbling to bed around midnight after a long night of studies, I couldn't wait just to hit the bed and sleep. I didn't get much after all. Tormented by the visions I hadn't had in a long time left me paralysed and covered in sweat when I awoke. Somewhat relieved to be back to my world, I was confronted with a fond memory brought up through the familiar feeling. It took a few moments to notice the 2 solid lights, and by now my eyes had begun to adjust to the darkness. Adrenaline surged through my body as I gripped the sides of my bed. As my eyes adjusted, I noticed something I hadn't through the foggy memories. They weren't lights. They were glowing red eyes. I began to wonder if this was another part of the nightmare. It had to be. Deep down I knew it wasn't. This was all too real. Through lost hope and fear for the unknown, I grabbed the closest thing I could, a gift from my mother on my birthday a few years ago, a snow globe from our Denver trip. Playing baseball at school, I had developed a pretty efficient throwing arm. Launching it across the room with my pitching arm, the eyes went dark, followed by a thump on the floor in front of my bed. Turning on the lights left a pang of guilt in my stomach. Why was that so easy? Seeing the creature for the first time up close, and knowing it had been around here since I was a child, brought bile up to my throat. Its limbs were half as thick than an average human, and where its skin should have been was a substance unknown to me, dark and leathery, but looked as if I could stick my hand through it, recently punctured with shards of glass. What happened next led me to believe the theory I came up with as soon as I turned on the lights was true. This creature wasn't my enemy, nor was it just a neutral visitor. That's when it began. The trampling creaks on the stairs, windows smashing, and above all, the worst part was the grotesque shrieks and howls. I knew what I had done tonight was the worst and probably the last mistake of my life. Somewhere down the hall my sister screamed. The creature, the one I had killed, had been my protection.